1,000,000 voices. Hi, I'm Catia, and this is 1,000,000 Voices, where inspirational speakers share their stories and champion organizations that are making a difference in the world.
When you see the elevation of women all over the world coming together, and so many beautiful stories coming from actresses, journalists, mothers, I think it's the next 10 years will be tremendous for the rise of women.
Hello, welcome to a new episode of 1,000,000 Voices. Our guest today is a truly remarkable woman. Noella Musunga is one of the world's leading voices in girls' education. An internationally acclaimed model, Noella is a fierce advocate of the intrinsic human right to education, health, and opportunity. In 2007, she founded Malaika, a non-profit grassroots organization that empowers girls and their communities through education and health programs in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Malaika, which means angel in Swahili, has been transforming thousands of lives in the DRC. She is also an ambassador for the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, and was named one of the BBC's 100 most influential and inspirational women in 2017. Hi, Noella. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Very good to have you here. Hope you're well. We are living in strange times, to say the least, so I hope you're well and your family as well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's strange to be in lockdown number 2. And we're kind of getting used, but this time for me, I would say, is a little bit easier because lockdown number 2, the school is still open. And that's for me a blessing because homeschool with my 2 kids, it was very, very tough because my daughter is 6 years old, my son is 10 years old, but with my daughter, I need to sit down with her and do all the homework and the school. So it was not easy, the lockdown number 1. Number 2, I find a little bit more easier. But it's still, I think before Christmas, it kind of put our morale down, and we just want that it's over because it's getting into our mood and our everyday life, and it can bring us down a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a tough year.
And we're missing our friends, our family, missing traveling. But on the top of that, November, December is all the shows at the school of my kids, where you go to see their running, where you're going to see their shows, where you're going to the exhibit, and none of them can happen because we cannot enter the school. So it's something that I really miss. Apart that, I'm very good. I'm always a positive person, and tomorrow is another day, and we just keep continuing and keep pushing boundaries.
Yeah, I think we need to find some source of, I don't know, we have to keep up, I think, with everything and try to keep our spirits, as positive as much as we can. I think it's very difficult for us. It's been a difficult year for everybody, for sure. But like you said, you are a very optimistic person and you have an amazing and inspiring personal story. And I would like to start by talking about this. It is a story that inspired you also to become one of the world's leading advocates of girls, of children's education. So tell us about your personal journey, Noella, how it started for you. You were born in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and it took a while for you to reconnect with your home country and also with your mother. So tell us about your personal story.
I was born in the Congo to a Congolese mother and Cypriot father. When I was 5, my father passed away. He was sleeping and I tried to wake him up, but I couldn't. Following that, my mother made a difficult decision to send me to live with families in Europe because she couldn't afford to keep me. It was a very difficult transition in a new culture and suddenly having neither of my parents around me. I made this decision quite early on that I would work and embrace the opportunity to gain an education. It was incredibly challenging. And I only spoke to my mom on the phone, a handful of times. I saw her again when I was turning 18 years old. I took a trip to Congo to see her and see my family. It was amazing to see her, but also very eyes-opening. I was shocked by her poor living condition she was experiencing, and also the lack of infrastructure in my country. I noticed there were many children out of school, girls in particular. I could see my story in these girls. I went back to Europe and completed a degree in business management. Some friends encouraged me later on to enter a modeling competition for agent provocateur, which I won, and I became their face of the brand. And my modeling career took off from there, from between London and New York. The whole time following my trip to Congo at the age of 18, I had this desire in my heart to help my home country and dream to start what is Malaika. Malaika, the journey of 13 years.
And what helped you cope with this absence from your mother? I mean, you were away from her in Europe, as I understand. You were very far away. And did you have any role models or anything that you were looking for as you were trying to, find your way and also find inspiration to get educated? How was it for you to find this inspiration?
It was very tough because I was living with my auntie and a kid, and she was not a woman that has a lot of feeling and love. And for me, at the end, she was kind of a stranger. When you lose your mom, you don't live with. I lost my dad; he died, but I lose my mom. I lost my mom too. So arriving at 5 years old in a country where you don't know anything, it's cold. You're arriving in a house where you don't have in Africa, you live outside, and suddenly in Europe, you're living inside, and you're living with strangers, and you have to accommodate yourself. It was a very, very tough childhood, and I had a lot of tears, missing my mom, missing my country. But I'm a girl that's very determined and very focused on what I do, and I put just all my energy in my study, and wanted to just, for the memory of my dad, to do very well in my life. And I had 2 dogs. My auntie has 2 dogs, Tiesa and Black. And they were my buddies. They were my friends. I put a lot of my attention into them.
You mentioned your work with Malaika. It is such an amazing organization, so it would be interesting to talk about how it all started. I mean, it's been over 10 years now. So how is it? And I guess also with the COVID-19 pandemic, I mean, it's probably posing new challenges as well. So tell us about this story and how the organization is doing today.
Education was the key to unlocking a good future for myself. I knew this as a child and a young adult. Education is a power and freedom, and therefore is a human right. I saw how many children were not educated like myself when I visited Congo at the age 18, like I told you. But the statistic to give is a dark picture. When 50 million, in sub-Saharan Africa not receiving education, girls are 1.5 times more likely to not have access to education. And 2/3 of the global illiterate population are women. Children born to illiterate parents are more likely to be illiterate themselves, and the cycle continues. Congo has a huge potential. It's one of the richest countries on earth. But our minerals have been looted, and this is one of the reasons we need to invest in education. They need to transform the country and serve the population with basic health, infrastructure, schools that are safe, and deliver quality education. And my message will be about education, will be keep going, keep trying to learn, and don't lose sight of the value of education. It can be easy to think there's no point in trying when it's so hard, and listen to the voices that say not for you. It's a big ask, and really it's on us those we have received and benefited from an education to forge a path for the next generation to access quality education. I teach my children about the value of education they are receiving, but also encourage them to participate in giving back to others who don't have easy access to education. They both have to come to Congo with me 6 weeks every summer when I usually go. And they both donate their birthdays to Malaika. They built with us 2 wells for their friends in the village. And Africa, and I guess you from Brazil, we really need to invest in not only education, we really need to invest to high quality education. And more than ever, to use the tools of technology to transform our future and our present, because that's the only way we're going to take control over our destiny, of our continent.
And that's very interesting. You just mentioned technology. So, did technology help? How was it for the school during lockdown and during, this whole pandemic? I guess it poses new challenges for Malaika as well.
Yeah, so Malaika was nearly closed down for 5 months. It was very challenging because the price of the food went up. Our students are used to eat two meals a day, and not being at our school, they didn't have these meals. They were maybe eating 2 times a week. So we created an emergency fund of food where we went to every Tuesday, Thursday to different parts of the village and distributing food. We impacted more than 6,000 people. The safety in the village was very not at the level that was. So there's no electricity, no running water. We built 20 wells over the 13 years. So we had to distribute the homework and the schoolwork every day in the villages and have it back and prepare a student, because they don't have electricity, so we don't have tablets, we couldn't give them the tablets. But what we did, in a positive way, we created webinars, free webinars, a series where it was hosted by Tandy Newton, June, Sarpong, and Eve, where our students were at the center of the webinar, and our team workers and our mothers and fathers, where they were talking how they were living the lockdown. And you could hear from them, not from me, but from them. And it was really beautiful because the technology bring all of us together. And through the technology, with the STEM team, with the 3D printers at the school, we were able to make more than 1,500 mask shields that we distributed over 60 hospitals. So that was, not even my kids did that, at their school. But the kids in the Congo, in the middle of the village, we were able to produce that because all our school is, and our community center is all solar panels. So it's green energy. But Africa is not so much affected by COVID, but so many other challenges come on the way. And the thing I want to say, the good thing about technology, we were able to do with the lockdown of all our program, we were really able to put a lot of emphasis on training our teachers, training our managers, bring new resources for learning at the school, really have a bilan, what went well, what didn't go well the last few years at Malaika, and how come we can readapt ourselves for the next few years, because they're saying 5 charities out of 10 will not survive the next 2 years. That's quite a high-level statistic. That is scary.
It is scary. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a huge impact on so many people's lives and on charities, and it's been very difficult. But coming back to the work that Malaika does, tell us about the holistic approach as well, because you just mentioned the wells, for instance, the meals that the children also eat. So it's not only, of course, you have the education center, the school, but also you have other things that are so important to actually allow the children to be able to go to the school, and the mothers as well. You support the community. So tell us a little bit more about the details, how Malaika works, because it is a model as well, Noella, that can be replicated in other areas, in other countries as well.
Malaika is really an ecosystem that has 4 pillars. We built and managed the school for 370 years. We built, in collaboration with FIFA, a community center that impacts 5,000 people's lives. We built and refurbished 20 wells that's serving water and sanitation to 35,000 people a year. And we grow our own organic food that allow us to teach the community and the youth, and serve our canteen and nutrition program, breakfast and lunches. So it's very important. And the ecosystem we created over the 13 years, we have been writing a toolkit that we will be able to share with corporate, NGOs, individuals, how to duplicate this model we created in any context in the world. the school, the community center, the wells, the agriculture. But how you really empower through education and you empower through health programs. And it's really amazing because the school is a free school. We provide them the school supplies, we provide them the socks, the underwear when they have the periods, the sanitary pads, the shoes, the uniforms. We're giving them high quality education from sport, from music, from art, for STEM program, from histories, learning English. And some of the girls has been selected in the tennis national team. Some of the students has been selected, 20 of them has been selected for one of the best team in the country of soccer team. And 2 of our girls were selected to do a STEM program at Harvard. So seeing the success story and seeing girls excelling in different fields, it's really, I never imagined that in my life, you know. We started Malaika in this village, in impoverished village. We pushed the government to make the road. 70% of the road has been made. It brings a completely transformational way to the village and economical growth. But I started Malaika really on a piece of paper. I started on a piece of paper with sponsoring 10 girls from a small orphanage that were abandoned or sexually abused. And we started with only 3 classrooms, 1 building at the school, and now we have 10 buildings. And it's just a dream. It's really a dream. But we try to be in the quality and really strengthening every year our program instead of really spreading.
And is there a story of a particular girl that will always stick with you?
Uh, there's so many stories because they're all amazing. I love Carol. Carol walked 1 hour every day to come to school because she used to live close to the school and then they moved. And I see this girl, she's always on time, never miss school, a resilience, a smile, and she's a beautiful girl. I see Esther that had a huge accident where a motorbike ran over her, the pipe was stuck on the leg. She was not coming for a few days at the school, and we very strict on attendance at school. So we went to check what was going wrong. She was nearly going to die. We brought her to the hospital. She stayed 6 months. We were able to save her leg. She came back at school more determined. She wanted to be a doctor. She has so much grace, so much determination. She's really good. She's really strong and amazing. And I have all these girls from Anna, from Lutina, from Frida. They all have high dreams. They want to be doctor, IT engineer, journalist. Lorian want to become a lawyer. So it's just beautiful to see them growing and being so good in the way what they're doing. I want to see them happy, and we're creating a student fund that will help them in whatever they want to do. If they want to do technical school or university, whichever path they will take. But through the lockdown, we lost 3 girls: Leia, little Noella, and Estherani. And for me, it was a devastating time because I'm a mother of 2 kids. And the worst thing was Estherani because she was at the hospital. I was receiving pictures every day of her. And I was really praying that we'd be able to save her. And in a fraction of a second, she died. And the family lost 2 kids in less than 1 month. That was tough. That was emotionally tough, and we're still craving on that because we lost Miriam 2 years ago between Christmas and New Year of malaria, and when the family called us, she died. It was tough. She was 6 years old, and we created a student health center on the memory of Miriam, and I dreamed to never see a girl dying in front of us, and these 3 girls was tough. But what give a little light is the importance of Malaika. When Malaika is open, Anything happen to a girls, we try to help them and we bring them to the hospital. When they are not in our premises, it's very hard to monitor the health, the nutrition program, and how they do it.
And I guess also for the parents as well, it must be very difficult for the mothers. And like you said, I mean, there are so many challenges, like malaria as well, like you just mentioned. You are an ambassador for the global funds to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And so, how do you see this? That the world is talking about health right now, of course, because of the pandemic. But how do you see things evolving in Africa in terms of also taking care of health issues and all these challenges that you just mentioned?
Africa is not really affected right now by the COVID-19. They did a big lockdown and now they're getting back bit by the pace, but they're affected economically and affected by so many different challenges. They still have to be careful and do a lot of prevention. I see that it's very important we keep investing in education, we keep investing in health. The lockdown of schools are dangerous in Africa, because girls will get pregnant, girls will get married at a younger age. It will be a big catch-up they will have to do, and they're not working with technology where they can do homeschool with, because most of the houses don't have access to electricity or technology or computers. So there's a lot of burdens for them. But Africa has so much positivity, and they stay resilient. Congo, we've been through wars, through political destabilization. We went through Ebola. It's another challenge for them. But they were really hoping the lockdown to be finished. So now the school opened back in October, and that was our girls has been 10, 11 years at the school. So for them, that the school were closed for 5 months, it was very, very strange for them. And for me, it was so strange because I receive pictures every day, I speak to the staff every day, and to not be able to do that was really something missing in me.
And thank you for sharing the stories of the girls as well. I mean, it must have been a very difficult time for you to see, to lose girls like that and to see the family suffering and not being able. I mean, you're doing your best, and Malaika was doing its best as well. But I guess, like you said, sorry, yeah.
You are staff, and the other way, I'm the leader of Malaika, and I feel I didn't have time really to crave because my agenda is so packed. The donation were going down for Malaika in the time of lockdown. People, of course, are panicking and losing their jobs, and the first thing they do, they're stopping the donation. And it was a tough time because my agenda is packed. I have this girl that died, and I don't even have time to grave them because I still have to keep pushing Malaika because so many people rely on Malaika, and we have the entire staff that I know that have family, kids, and I want to make sure that we're still able to pay them every month. So it was like, oh my God, my last 4 months have been so tough.
You are a role model for so many women around the world. And, in 2017, you were named one of the BBC's 100 most influential and inspirational women. In 2018, you received a special award at the 100 Years of Mandela celebration. So, you keep inspiring so many people. And so how do you see, for instance, particularly for women, because like I said, you are a role model, and how do you see female empowerment? And like you said, particularly in countries in Africa and South America as well, so many countries we see lack of access from girls to education and things like that. So how do you see the future of female empowerment? Do you see that things are improving? How do do you see the future?
I see definitely the future when you see the vice president in America, a strong woman, beautiful, charismatic, and when you see the elevation of women all over the world coming together, and so many beautiful stories coming from actresses, journalists, mothers. I think it's the next 10 years will be tremendous for the rise of women.
I think the biggest impact of Malaika here in Kalibuka is the empowerment. They have empowered girls, they have empowered women, and they have empowered the community to have a voice. When you start at the younger level, the girls are more impressionable, they're more easier to work with, and they have big dreams which have not yet been tarnished.
Yeah, the present is female and the future is female, definitely. Beautiful to see the first vice president, a woman, a strong, beautiful, strong, charismatic, powerful, so eloquent. And that's where we want to see. We want to see more women in representation at every level, inclusion, diversity. That's what the world wants, and that's the world's need, and even more in Africa. We have 54 countries. I want to see more than 20 president women in Africa. And the same in South America and everywhere in the world. That's what we need to push, but there's still a long way to go, and we still have to push. And I'm so proud that I'm doing Malaika is a girls' school leaders, for leadership school girls, because we really need to nurture them. And we need to nurture them not only with leadership skill, but we need to nurture them too with values.
I think it's also, if they see more women in roles like these, the ones that you mentioned, it's probably, easier for them to picture themselves as well, right?
Representation is so key.
Yeah. And it's a very beautiful lesson. I think that, the lesson that you teach as well. And you mentioned as well that every year you go back to Congo during the summer, right? I mean, before, when we could travel, and you take your children with you. So what would you say are the most important lessons that you want to pass on to your children? And when you are there, specifically when you are there in Congo with them, what do you want them to experience and learn from that experience?
I want my kids to be kids because I didn't have this childhood. I never celebrate birthdays, I never celebrate Christmas. So for me, my kids have to be kids. But my kids understand the chance and the privilege they have, because my son has been more than 20 times in the Congo. He's 10 years old. My daughter has been more than 10 times. They understand how lucky they are. They understand when they go in a village and play with their friends and go to pick them up at their house in the village, where they see them sleeping on the floor, where they see them there's no electricity, no water, where they see them they don't even have buckets of food. And they see this contrast. And how they always pick a few projects they want to do in the Congo. My son pick up to do a well. My daughter pick up to do a well. On the name, they buy mattresses for their friends. They buy buckets. They buy food. My son and my daughter give a portion of their birthdays, some money for the school or for their friends in the village. They help me to put envelope Christmas cards. So they feeling they are part of Malaika. They say, "Mommy, why are we not on the website of Malaika?" And I thought that was cute because it's really part of them. We call the kids sometimes via Zoom, and it's for them. They spend 6 weeks every summer. They feel Congolese, and they feel they are English too. They love the English culture, but they love the African food where they eat with hands. One of the friend of my daughter came at home and she said, "Mom, can I make him taste the African food?" And I said, "Really? Do you think he will like it?" "Yes, of course." And I said, "Do you want to taste my African food?" And his friend eats with my daughter, and it's beautiful because you see kids share culture in such a natural way. And his friends say, "Wow, I really like it. Every time I come here, I want this." And it was just beautiful to see that. And sometimes I hear my kids talking about Malaika and they explaining what is Malaika. "Yeah, it's in Kalibuka. We have 370 girls." And it's really good. They feel on top at a very, very young age, but very in a natural way. I think the crisis that we live in now make all the kids grow quicker and really arrive in the world very in a strange way, because the first lockdown was very tough on them. I think to not see their friends, to not go play, to not do the sports, be allowed only to go out for a certain time, it was tough. And being on screen, learning via screen, my kids are happy to go to interact with their friends. They're still in bubble, and they have a lot of rules at school, but they're happy to go there.
Do you have built a very successful career as a model. And modeling can be pretty challenging, although a lot of people think it's very glamorous and it's, a glamorous lifestyle. And a lot of young girls dream of becoming models. So what would be your advice, Noella, for young, particularly for young girls who are, thinking that they would like to become models and, or anyone who's starting now as well, their careers, they are very young and they don't know, what to do. So what would be your top tips for someone who's just starting out?
I advise girls, the world is very competitive. There's a lot of competition. You just cannot be just pretty anymore. We see the representation now in magazine, in the media, in movies. You need to have a strong personality. You need to be yourself. You need to study. You need to have a baggage. You need to be comfortable on your own skin and on your own shape and really develop that. And modeling, it has to be a window up, with different windows of what you will do in your life. You cannot put all your energy just in modeling because sometimes the career can be unpredictable. I never thought my modeling career will last so long. But it lasts longer because I adapted myself and I'm offering something different of the other people. And I just don't speak, I act. It's been 13 years that I set up Malaika. So I have a voice. I have a voice for communities around the world. I have a voice for girls' education. I have a voice to be a proud African woman. I have a voice to be a woman, to be a mother, to be a feminist. So I'm standing for a lot of things. And that's what brands want now. And that's what media want. But you have to be yourself. You cannot be put in a box. And that's something important. But I would say to the girls, really put your energy, surround yourself very well. To have good people around you, good friends, good family, it's so, so very important. And you have to accept rejection. I've been rejected so many times. I was not enough tall. I was black. I was skinny. I didn't have enough big breasts. I had so many rejection, but that's what keeps you going, and that's what shapes you. And rejection not only in modeling, you have rejection on every day. Sometimes as Malaika, we write a grant application and we don't get it, or in our own world, and it's difficult. And sometimes you're going through emotion too with your own kids. One day my son came to me and he said, "Mommy, I'm sad because there's a birthday of one of my friends, but I was not invited." So you go through a lot of emotion too with your kids. And my kids challenged me because my son was 2 years ago, he was very not happy. He was sad why he was not invited to this birthday. And he's quite a strong-minded boy. And he said, "Mommy, can you text his mom and ask him why? Or text his dad?" And I texted the dad, and it was a discussion. But it was beautiful. I was proud of him that he was not just sad and he forget about it. He wanted to know why. And you learn a lot with your kids, and you teach, but you see the world through their eyes too. And even more now with the crisis, they're seeing the world in a different ways that we're seeing too. But they're so strong, our kids. I would say I navigate the worlds of modeling and philanthropy, like you said, two different worlds. I don't really see them as a separate world. I bring my values into my modeling by ensuring enable me to give back. I try to work with ethical brands, and many of them will support Malaika in some way, shape through my work with them. For example, I collaborated with the designer Roxanda in Dionnet to produce a line of clothing where some portion of the sale were going to Malaika. And the artwork of this campaign was done by a student. Modeling has given me a platform for which to share my passion to see girls educated, and will always appreciate and maximize that. And on the top of that, this year last month we launched a Wear campaign with Her. It's a rental platform where powerful and influential women donated their outfit to be rented, and all the proceeds goes to Malaika, from Vanessa Kingory, June Sapong, Tandy Newton, Maria Bogues, Natalia Vadionova, Tony Gard, and so on. The list gone, and it was beautiful because they all came. I asked them, we call them, we say, can you give some outfit? We'll go to Malaika. And of course, unfortunately, 2-3 weeks later, the lockdown hit us, but hopefully we'll take back after. And we just created another line of dress with another dress called the Mila dress. It's a more party season dress with Georgina Ardina. And it's fantastic because a portion of the sale go to Malaika. So my two worlds really come together. But I will give the advice for girls, even for me. The reason I didn't go into modeling is because I really wanted to study first.
If there was something that you would tell yourself, the young Noella, what would you say to her?
Oh, I would say sometimes you have to say more no. Because I say sometimes 2 years and I feel completely overwhelmed and have so much going on. And, sometimes I was like, maybe I should say no. I should say really take one day after one day. Celebrate who you are. Celebrate what you do every day. Be kind to people. It's very important. Care about people. It's very important. Really do put your 100% in everything that you do. It's so important. And try to make happy people around you. But be yourself and be really happy with yourself. You cannot be happy and you cannot give your energy if you don't feel your own energy and if you don't take your time for yourself. And I do feel in my career, in everything that I do, sometimes I don't take enough time for myself. And that's something that I'm really learning. And maybe these 2 lockdowns really teach me that. Because the first lockdown, I was really with my family at home. The second lockdown, my kids at school. And I'm really with myself. And I feel it's very good to be by myself. Because I'm always on the go. I'm traveling. I'm looking after this. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I have to attend an event. I have to go to a fundraising. I have to go to speak at this conference. I'm on a plane. I'm in Congo. I'm surrounded by, I don't know, many people around me. But I'm never really myself. And that's something that the lockdown really make me... Before, sometimes I used to completely switch off. I work like crazy. And for 2 days, I completely disappear off the world. But this time is really self-care. I take time of my skin, really long time in my bathroom. Of course, you cannot go to do your facial, so that's a good thing. You have to take care of yourself. I take time to do my bag, of my cooking, and reorganize my house, and reorganize my work, and reorganize my emails and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's also learning how to prioritize, which can be challenging, I guess.
And when you have kids, you have your husband, you have your work, modeling, you have your modeling philanthropy, and you have a lot of things that you're doing beside. It's you need to prioritize, and definitely you have sometimes to say no between the line.
You have such an amazing, like I said, story, and you have a positive attitude. But do you remember, Noella, at any point in your career, either as a model, as a philanthropist, like you said, you have both ways, and you have managed to merge both worlds, the philanthropy with your modeling career. But do you remember any point in time when you felt, any particular challenge or obstacle that was really, and then you had to overcome and improvise perhaps and make the best out of a difficult situation? Do you remember any lesson that you could maybe share with us?
Yes, I will say really that I have moments where I had a lot of down. It's nearly $400,000 to raise every year to make Malaika alive. I have a lot of down times where I wanted sometimes to quit and stop everything because it's a huge pressure on me. And you're working in a very difficult country. You have challenges every day. Over there in the Congo, it's not easy to work. You have challenges to raise money. I have a heavy agenda where I'm invited to speak to so many events, and sometimes you have to do it because it gives the visibility to Malaika. The other side is important to do my modeling too because it gives the visibility, and that's what pay my bills. I don't take any money from Malaika. And there's a lot of moments. And being a mother of two kids, you have to keep your house, you have to be organized, the homework, everything. So sometimes you feel very overwhelmed, and you have to take one step after one step. But I'm extremely lucky because the money we're raising, 85% go back to Malaika. And secondly is we have an amazing team. People see me a lot speaking in the front line, but the team is amazing. The team is there to prepare me, to be there with us. We have everybody has a specific task in the team. It's like an organigram. It's like a business you're managing. And they're giving the 100% because they believe 120, 150% they're giving. The team is so, they see that the work they're doing, it's so important in the life of these girls that we're doing and in the life of the staff over there. And we are involved not only as a task, but we're involved because we love what we do. I love what I do. Yesterday I was doing an Instagram live. This morning I was preparing an art workshop from the student in the Congo with some ladies in New York. So my day is various. Every day is something different. Then I have to record a video for a foundation. Tomorrow, what I have to do, I have to read an expert of a book, of one of my favorite books. I have to do a virtual shoot. So it's like every day, the good thing about me is my life is every day I have to do something else new. And even though this virtual world interview is different new. You do on Skype, you do on Zoom, you do on Microsoft, you do on podcasts, you do Instagram Live. It's like every day something different.
Here at 1 Million Voices, the idea is to raise awareness and to help organizations like Malaika. Malaika does a wonderful job. And so just to finish our conversation today, Noella, how can people get involved and support this wonderful charity?
I will say you can spread the word. You can follow us on social media. You can sign up for a newsletter. When it will be possible, you can run a marathon. You can have a class of yoga. You can do a cooking, baking, sell muffins, sell cakes. You can sponsor a girl a year or monthly. You can organize a show at your fashion show. You can donate a part of your clothes. And different charities, different companies now taking some clothes and sell for the charities. You can, like I was saying, sponsoring a girl for a year or for a month, or you can sponsor the nutrition program or the STEM program, or contribute to the salary of one of the teachers. So there's many, many, many ways you can contribute, and you can come to volunteer on the ground, offer your skills. We always need help in the fundraising strategy and how to make stronger. So there's a lot of ways where we can all collaborate.
And it doesn't take much, right, Noelle? I mean, you can actually it doesn't need to be a huge amount. If you can donate, it really makes a difference. Tell us, for instance, how much does it cost to...
It's important.
Yeah.
And more than ever now, because it's such a tough time for charities all over the world to raise money. It's an extremely, extremely difficult time.
And how would you summarize Malaika to our viewers?
Malaika, it's a beautiful ecosystem that empowers girls and communities through education, through water, that nurture the next generation of leaders, and give a chance to a girl. She will fly and she will run the world.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much for spreading joy and, for helping so many girls and for being this inspirational person that you are.
You help me a lot, and you invite me to speak at your event, and you donated. You've been doing so much, and I always take time for you. And please go visit malaika.org and follow the stories and everything that we're doing at Malaika.
Yes, we're going to be sharing the details, the link to the organization. We invite everyone to visit Malaika's website, to follow them on social media as well, to follow Noella. You will be inspired, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time and speaking to us, and also for inspiring us with your personal story, with Malaika's story as well. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon in person under different circumstances.
A big hug, not virtual hug, a real hug.
Yes, a virtual hug.
Thanks, Catia. See you soon. Talk soon.
Thank you so much. enjoyed watching this interview, don't forget to like, leave your comments, share the link and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow us on social media. This is a very exciting moment for the 1 Million Voices project as we are just starting out. So I invite everyone to join us. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.